which still, that still plays in here, but when you do the 1 hour, it's just more effective. Yeah. So let's so let's yeah. Well, no, I'm gonna walk you through here. I'm gonna walk you through, right? So right here, let me share. I'll share my screen in a second. Give me a second. Okay. So it's a very let me share screen. There we go. Okay, there you are. All right. So this is how we run it. Very simple. So the how the alerts work, right? They'll pop up on the right side for you, and so what it is when they start to show up, the more that they show up where they have like consistency, like here's Solana, right? 1203, 1204, 1205. That means it's heating up, right? If it's a random one, you go take a look. But how the steps go is step one, we need a trade ideal, which is an alert, right? So we got the AVAX alert first, right? So all we did was when we get the AVAX alert, first thing we do is we know that alert comes in. Second step is we need first, the trade has an ideal. Now we need basically the next step would be your 15-minute red moon. Now, what that does for you is that no, no, it's on the 1 hour. It's on the 1 hour time frame. I don't know why it says like it says 3 minute on there, but that's yeah. No. Mhm. Yeah. So I don't know why it puts that in there. Yeah, no, no, but it's on the 1 hour. I don't know why it says 3 m. Right? It should they're all 1 hour. So they're all set in the 1 hour time frames. I don't know why. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have mine on every minute. That might be what, yeah. So mine is set on every minute, right? So um yeah, I want my alerts when they go off, I want to have them like hit, consistently, and that just lets me know when they're heating up, right? So for instance, so the first alert is your AVAX, right? So then when we hit that AVAX, the second part of it is not confirmation, but validation. So the first alert is just a trade ideal. So we have a short alert that comes in, we get an alert, pops up, then we need to go to the 15-minute because the 15-minute moon is going to be validation. Okay. Once you have the 15-minute moon pop up, now you have a trade. The entry is the 3 minute moon in trend, right? So that's how you move there. Now, the confirmation of the trade is always going to be the 15-minute red trend. So, first alert, right? Validation is the moon, the entry is the red trend, right? So that's where we get in. So, negative volume or price. So we always have our normal entry. So here, let me walk you through. Okay, so we get an alert, right? We see the AVAX short alert over here, right? So there we go. We get that alert. It's our email. We go to our chart. First thing we do is go to our 15-minute. We take a look at the 15-minute. We're looking for a moon, right? So you can just right click on your BC indicators and say, boom, add alert. I want to know when the moon is. But most of the time, your moon's going to be showing up anyways. Now, that's validation that there's a trade. Now, the trade that we're taking will be on a 15-minute red trend, or if you're kind of as you get better, you'll notice that it's on the money, right? And what I mean by the money line is right here. So, a 15-minute moon pops in, right? We're waiting for a trend. The money line starts to come up, and then these happen to show up at the same time. The money line starts to break down. That's where we would want to be in our entry, right? Now, easiest way to kind of shortcut this is you get the alert on your 1 hour, you get the email alert, you go to your 15-minute red moon. Now you know you have an active trade. The next move is your entry. You slide to your 3-minute, and all you're going to do. So let me mark this off. All right. So 15-minute moon pops up, right? And I'm going to mark it off right here. I'm going to move it one candle over, right? Just because for lag and all that other stuff for your time looking. So moon comes in on this candle, right? So we know by this candle, okay? Now, when we jump in here, we get the moon, we go to our 3-minute. Now, at that time, to enter my trade, I need a 3-minute red moon and trend. Right now, I have a red moon, it's a green trend, and then all of a sudden I go green moon, right? And then as soon as I hit the trend right here, that's my entry. So I'd be entering right here with that moon and trend. So this would be my entry point off of one of these sections here, these candles here. Okay, so that would be where I would enter. So moon, when I got here, I already had a downward movement. I'm waiting for the trend to hit. It ends up staying green. It goes green moon. It pushes up one more time. Now, as you get better, you will realize that when the money pushes up, which we'll see on the 3 minutes, see how the money pushes up? When it starts to go sideways and starts to bend down, that's where we would take the entry. So when you're better, you'll grab this extra entry, but I'll show you the difference in like what it is, right? So that would be the entry if we had where we're starting to get a little better at it. But once the money starts coming down, we hit that moon, we're entering here. So either way. Now the difference between those two entries isn't that big of a deal. It's about a 0.3, maybe a 0.5%, but not big of a deal. Now the whole ideal here is we're doing a high leverage 75x trade and we're aiming for 50% profit. So at the end of the day, we did 1%, that'd be 75. So we need 50%. So we'd be looking at 0.75. So from this point here, from that entry, we're just targeting a very simple 50% gain, which is this pocket right here. So even if you got in a little later, which is down here, you have basically, you could have made 50% twice on this trade, which I did. Right, you see? So you had this 50%, this 50%, not to mention when it bounced, which it did here, then we got another 50%. So we had 50% there. And then if you would have caught that bounce, then you would have got another 50%. So this trade paid off in that simple move, 50% over and over and over. So you got TradingView. What up, XBot, XRP bot? Right. So that's how we play that. So first thing is we get an alert on the 1 hour, right? We set an alert, we get our alert on our trend. Then we go to the 15-minute. We're looking for a moon. So you can just right click. If the moon's not there yet, right click on the 15-minute moon, right? And set an alert for the moon, right? So you just basically right click, set an add alert to VC Crypto Nation, multi time frames, boom, set the moon, and now you know. So now as soon as that moon hits, you know that you have a trade. Now, once I set the alert on the moon, I can go directly to the 3-minute because I already know that I'm entering on a 3-minute red moon and trend, and I want negative volume on the 3-minute. See? So once that happens, which basically is right here, 3-minute red moon, 3-minute trend, negative volume, I know I'm in a trade, right? So that's the trade that we want to get into right there. So 1 hour alert, 15-minute moon, then we enter 3-minute red moon, red trend, and that's the trade. No, because because most of the time, if you see these happening, right, you're going to have kind of like that scenario already in there, right? So you can see here that the alerts are coming in, they're already dragging down. So at that point, we know that we're at the bottom of it. I'm not going to wait for the push up because I'm only going to grab the extended move, right? The last part of that move. That's why we're not getting greedy. We're not looking for a position trade. We'd want the 15-minute to come back up because we want to get somewhere here and then we want to hold on the confirmation, right? So what we're doing is we're just hitting the alerts, practicing just a very simple thing. So here's how we have, you can see over here, we have Solana as a 1 hour short, right? So when you see, and all you're really doing is just posting these alerts like this, and all we want to see is basically 3 in a row. So we had 303, 1205, 1205, 1203, 1204, 1205. So let's go over to Solana, and how this would happen in real time is, let's go over to Sol, and this happened an hour ago. So let's pop in. And I'm just going to go back to 3 o'clock, and I want to go to 12 o'clock when we got the alert. And that happened right at here. So we got the alert at 12 o'clock. Okay. So that's where the alert popped up. So when we got the alert, the very first thing I would do is I would slide to my 15 minute. Okay. So first alert is the alert on the 1 hour. The second thing is validation, right? So alert, trade ideal. Trade ideal is the 1 hour alert. Validation is the 15-minute moon. Now we know we're in a trade, right? So at this point, if I don't have the 15-minute moon, I right click on the green moon and I just set an alert on the 15-minute time frame for the moon. So I would just hit add alert. I put once per minute and then it says alert fired. Just type in 15-minute soul, right? And you already. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. So what it'll do is no, you can't change it. So what this will do is when it's kind of like already preset, it'll give you it's designed to give you a heads up alert on this move. Yeah, yeah, and you should see it start to flash in there. So it's the same thing. So when you set it up there, that alert is set. So now at that point, all you have to do if you don't see the moon is you need to set it. If you don't see it, or if you see it, then you slide right over to your 3 minute because right now the only thing you're going to do is enter on a 3 minute red moon and trend. And at this point, when we seen here, we were coming over, we would have seen a red moon and we see a red trend and we have negative volume. So this trade we should have got in somewhere over here and we would have basically, uh, let's say our entry first candle, you don't get in, you get in on this candle. And at that point, all we're looking for is a basic 0.87 move anyway. So that ends up catching our trade again. So we're able to make our 50% on that Solana trade as well. So it's a quick hit. So 75x, 50% profits. So that hit again. So that's another trade that goes in there. And it's still going, right? So if you're in there and you're just holding it, you got a 20% stop loss, right? So you're running it and it's going to hit its mark. So all these trades are hitting their marks. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so yeah, so it's just like common sense, right? So this is a like for everyone who's a new trader or just a regular trader. And the sad part is it's like I say new trader because it's like when you're new, your entries are your worst. But then as I go through charts and charts and charts, I realize that even guys who've been charting for so this, what people don't understand is that when you do charts only give you 60% accuracy if you're really good, right? 75% if you're better at, guessing and so they're about 60 to 70%, right? So a lot of times and it doesn't matter on spot entries because let's say they do, and this is what kind of makes it funny is that you can do like a descending triangle or a bull flag, right? And you map it out, and then what happens is 50 45% of the time it will dip below the triangle and then go on a run, but you don't really care about what happened to the dip because you were in a spot trade, so you just held through the 30% loss and then it went up and then you're like boom, okay. So and what people do is every time they enter a trade they are always negative in a trade, right? And to me it's like a common sense thing. So like for me if I was shooting a free throw and every time I did my same style and my motion over and over and I hit the front of the rim, then I would just step forward 1 foot so that I'd hit the middle, right? So if you go to get into a trade, right? And this is just a quick tip for people who are making any types of trades, and it used to be for the new guys, but it's kind of everybody. So if you get into a trade and you go to enter a trade, right? And 9 out of 10 times, every time you enter a trade, what happens is the trade actually goes down 10, 15%. So you kind of want to watch it. So when you do your entry, it goes down 15%, 20%, and 9 out of 10 times that happens to you, right? So what you do by nature is say, okay, you know what? Every single time I enter, I'm down about 15 to 20%. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a chart, and let's say that I want to get into Solana, right? And normally these are based on longs, right? Because longs are harder than shorts, okay? And so a lot of times you look at it. So let's say that we are playing with Solana and we want to play a 15-minute bounce, right? So here's the 15 minutes. See how it's coming off the bottom? So most times Solana's getting ready for a long here, right? So a guy would look at this, and the very first thing he would do is say, all right, I have my target here, my 200 moving average. Looks like we've got support here. Then they go to the 3 minute for their entry, and they're like, all right, this looks pretty good here. I'm gonna take Solana here at 74.67, right? And they want to make an entry, right? So if you know that you're always off by 20%, right? Here's what you do. You just get your little marker out and you say, okay, if I'm doing a 75x, that means that's 75, that's 35% right there at 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go half of that. I'm going to get about 17%. So I'm going to go to the 25% mark, 0.25, and I'm going to slide that to where I want to enter. And then I'm going to move my entry to the bottom. So now my entry is here. So if I want to do a long, I'm going to first enter my long at 74.51, 15% below where I thought I should enter. Right? Now, what this does for you is more than likely 9 out of 10 trades that you do, if you entered here, you're still going to get that 15% negative on you. So you're just preemptively saying this is my normal activity. So I'm just going to move down here. And what that does for you is that creates a stop loss of 15% for you that you didn't have earlier. And now you've created this extra margin here. You see what I'm saying? So now you have the 20% that you would normally do is already covered by your entry, right? So let's say that this doesn't come down, it goes on a run, right? That happens 2 out of 10 times, right? And you're like, okay, it's just a trade you didn't get in. But the 8 out of 10 times that it does grab the lower piece and go on, you've just collected 15% profits on your move just by being greedy in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? So there's more trades that go down than run. So by just putting that simple thing where you start moving your entries down 15%, you're already giving yourself 15% cushion and win. So when it does go down and go up, right? Because most guys understand what a trade should do, right? There's never anyone going, man, every time I think a trade's doing something, it just goes the other way. It's always, man, I knew the trade was going to do that. It just liquidated me before it did. You see what I'm saying? So now you start setting yourself up better. So whatever your percentage, right? So track your 10%, right? So you get into a trade, whatever it goes negative, right on the side of it and say, okay, this trade went 7% negative. The next trade went 9. This trade went 15. This trade went 5, right? You might be really good at entries. And you might say to yourself, man, I'm pretty good at my entries. But that's where you need to make money. If you're going to be greedy, you're going to be greedy on the entry, right? Don't be greedy when it's running. That's where people get this. That's how you create bag holders. So if you're in a trade and it's running and you're like, all right, I'm up 80%, I'm gonna go for 90. Oh, I'm at 90, I'm going for 100. Oh, it's at 100, I'm going for 150. And then they dump on you. And then you're like, oh shit, I got 10%. You became a bag holder, right? So bag holders happen when you hold a trade too long, right? But if you're greedy, then you start marking off 15% where you want to get in. What that's going to teach you is that one, you don't jump a trade that's moving, and two, you start learning that, oh, you know what, this always comes back. And you start reinforcing the reality of the market, which is the coins always come back. So it just allows you to start off. So now when this entry hits for us on the long at 74.51, we're already up 15% because we're 15% below our entry. So in reality, we're already winning. Oh, you're looking, so yeah, entries, entries are kind of like this, right? So if you're looking at an entry, right, depending how it is. So for me, the entries are all indicators, right? Now, if you want to get where you're starting to, want to guess where a trade is, right? So first thing I have to do is kind of, and this is the class that we're going to be teaching, like as we move forward, like it's going to be kind of in the alpha section, because what it's going to be is we're going to evaluate alerts, right? That's why we have that whole section going over there, is that we're going to look at all these different people who send alerts, and then we're going to evaluate the alerts and actually correct them, right? So this way, when you get a random alert or you see somebody calling out a trade on YouTube or TikTok, you can then go, all right, let me figure out where this actually should be. Because more than likely, 80% of the time, they're right about the trade they're talking about. But 98% of the time, their entries are fucking terrible. So you have to kind of like learn how to watch their trade and be like, oh, okay, so this is happening on render, or this is happening on Sol. And then you go and you evaluate it. And then what we're going to show you is how to use your Academy system to evaluate the alerts so that you actually know how to enter, right? So here, if I was entering Solana, right? The first thing I would do is I look at my hour, just kind of like a normal thing. So I know there's still drag here, and I look at my 2 hour to see how much drag, but the 2 hour is pushing up, so it's not too shabby. I go to my 1 hour, and I'm like, all right, so we're in the in between, right? So I know right here the next trade that is a short would be a 1 hour red moon, right? Which is kind of what my indicators are already telling me on Solana. I've got three in a row. But notice how this is one thing you want to focus on your alerts is when's the last time we had a Sol short alert, right? So notice here that the last time I had a 1 hour Sol alert was actually 12:05. It's 1:20. So it's been an hour. What that tells me is it has been building momentum the entire hour. So Solana is about to go back into a long. You see what I'm saying? Right, because if you look, so on the side here, you see my alerts, right? So this is why you want to have a pattern. So here's Solana. The first alert was a short at 12:03, 12:04, 12:05, but then they stopped showing up, right? Which means that it's already had a certain amount of volume disappear, and which is what we saw is that short where we made money. And now, since it isn't telling me there's a short coming, I know that Solana is about to build momentum, right? So now I can go look and say, okay, well, what trade would be a short, and my first trade is my 1 hour. So more than likely, this 1 hour moon is going to reject and then start to move up, and that's where we're going to see Solana make its move to the top, right? So now I slide over, I go to my 30-minute, and I take a look here. And what you want to do when you're estimating an entry area, right? We have our Fibonacci's up here, right? So for me, this looks like it wants to go long, right? So you see how the Fibonacci's upside down on the 30-minute? Right. That means most of the time it's going to come down to a target and then go on a run, right? So now if I looked at this, I'm evaluating an area that it could hit. First thing I look is my 30-minute RSI. Well, that's already on the floor, which means it can only drag so much back down, which is kind of where I have my entry set already. So now I go to my 15-minute and I say, how much can this come down? And it's already at the bottom. So this looks, like it's already there. So the only thing that I'm really concerned about at this point is I need to find out how much of the money, see the money line still going down there? So the money line is still going down, so this is still dragging, right? But it looks like we're pretty much, we've hit a support section, and it looks like it wants to kind of recover. So now I go to my 5-minute, and what I want to start doing is I want to start getting entries based off of 5-minute, right? So here's my 5-minute RSI. It's starting to pull down, but the only thing that really matters to me is the money line, right? So here's the money line, and it's bending down. So that's telling me we're going to see a little bit of a move down. So now I know my entry needs to be lower. And now I can evaluate by looking here. I can say, okay, is there any Fibonacci's in this area that it might come into? Is there any areas that it might hit? Is there any support, right? So first thing that I look for all the time is going to be a area of a 200 moving average, right? So slide back to my 15-minute, look for my 200, and boom, what do I have? There it is right there, 15-minute. So now there's an entry point there at about 74.53, right? So that's about that normal entry off that 200. So this all looks like it's lining up for a bounce. So now when I go to my 5-minute, right, I take a look and I'm like, all right, so we're going to bounce from here, but I need the 5-minute to move my way. And the other thing that we have here, this is the volume profile, right? So the volume profile says that in this area here, at about 74.32, yeah, there's support here, right? So we know that, there is another number a little bit lower here where our target would be here, right? 74.39. But since we're already getting to the point where we're getting some push from the 15 and 30 minute, we can kind of take an in between route of 74, 40, and 51 and go, we're probably going to be shooting for around 74, 45 area. You see what I'm saying? So now I take that middle entry and I say, okay, this is where I want to enter, right? So now I have the in between of the volume profiles. I have the in between, and now it's just a matter of letting this play out. So entry here would be 74, and we just hit it. See that? So this would be a good entry for Solana if you're playing the bounce position, right? Now, for me, that just gives me an ideal of an entry, but I still need my trends to basically tell me that it's going to keep going because you never know how many people are going to have paper hands, right? So I don't have a green trend yet. I haven't got an alert. So my alert that I would set on Solana to tell me that we're going in the other direction, right? Is I would go here on my 3 minute, right? And I would look for a moon, right? Because the first thing is I can't go long unless I have a green moon. So I'll click here, add here, and this is a 3 minute crossing, and I'm just going to put here Sol 3 minute moon, right? Because all I want to know is when the 3 minute moon comes around, because that's the only way that I can go long anyways, right? So now that I have all this kind of based out, I've hit my first target 74.44. So this is why entering early, the only way to lose a trade is to enter early. So now you're in a position where we know we have a great entry, but now we have an even better entry where we're starting to get down to this level here. So we've tagged this level, and now you would say to yourself, well, shit, if I can get that again, that's a great entry. So now you can say to yourself, all right, everything looks like it's bending. It's looked like it's going on. This would be a really good setup for a 74.26 area like that to say, okay, that's probably a really strong entry there, right? And all we're waiting for is the 3 minute RSI to finish, give us an area for target, which is probably going to be this candle here at the end of the day. It's probably going to be this one right here. And this right here is an area that is going to be a solid entry for the bounce as long as everything continues to do what it does. So the only thing I'm really looking for is money line. You see the 3 minute money line? I just want to know when the 3 minute moon alert hits to let me know that volume is actually coming back in, because everything else says there's going to be a bounce. So there's a 15-minute bounce, a 30-minute RSI bounce. Everything looks like it bounced. Our trend is 4, 2, 1, and 30 anyways. So all this looks like it wants to bounce. So if you're going to be setting up a trade, that's how we could have got our entry, right? So we should actually already be in here. Once we see this big candle come in, 74.37 is probably the entry. So then we go over here, and that's a solid entry. So normally on that part, I'm going to do 50% of it. Let me see where I'm at here. So let me get Sol like there. And you got to also remember, I'm trading off the 1 hour alert. So I haven't got a Solana 1 hour alert yet. You see what I'm saying? So I'm still kind of, that's kind of like my trade ideal, right? But if I look at this setup here, I can tell that I got some really good entry points that I could, build off of. That's 74.37. All right, 74.37. And I'm gonna get a little greedier. I'm gonna say 74.30, right? And that's where I'll start with like 20% of my positioning, on my entry. So now I'm already greedy at 74.30. Now I want to watch Solana develop, right? And that's basically I need it to start to show me volume, which is going to be the 3 minute moon, right? A little bit of reversal. But so far we have a nice little target at 74.30, right? Which is right about here. And that just made us super greedy, you see? So at the end of the day, we can't really complain because we've already had 1, 2, 3 of them hit. So we're sitting on this line here. So we feel pretty good here. So if we do get this entry here, we're not in a bad position. We have a stop loss at, we don't want to get caught on a big move. So we'll put a stop loss at 15%. But the odds are you're in a pretty good position here on this move. So we're pretty set up here. The next thing that we'll enter is when we start to actually get confirmation of a reversal, and then we'll start to look to enter on there. So here, All right, Solana 3 minute moon just fired off. See that alert right there? So that fires off. That lets me know that we're starting to build a little momentum, right? So, but I want it to happen a couple times. So 1326, 1326, I needed to fire off again here, right? Because it's been 3 minutes. So I need this to start to build momentum on the 3 minute moon and start to build. So this is a good area on a target side, right? So here we're starting to see the change, right? So this is how you find your best entries. They're always on the 3 minute, but they're trading with everything else. And then right here, look at the RSI bend up early, right? So that normally is going to bend and then have one more final pull down because that's kind of like the consolidation section. But more important, the only thing that really matters to me is the money. See the money line? So now that the money line is coming up here, I'm pretty solid on a good entry here. Now I can come back to my trade and say, okay, where am I at? All right, now I can click my Solana 70, 55, 55.8, and I want to go a little bit lower, so I'll do like 74.50, and I'm still asking with the next 20%, I'm still asking for a discount. You know what I'm saying? I'm still where a little bit low where they want to be. That's where I'm going to start off my buying in those two sections. All right, because I'm always expecting at this point, I'm still expecting one more last pull down, right? Because it's probably going to pull down this area for a little bit of time. So then I just mark my area and say, okay, uh, these are my buy zones, right? 74.50 and everything below. So I'm still now I have an area where we have a buy zone area now, and that's what I'm looking to buy. Everything below this still greedy on all entries, waiting for that to hit. So let's see what we got here. And we still need the Solana to kind of like it still needs to show the 3 minute hit on there. Um, yeah, yeah, it wicked down, grabbed it, and now it's like it's fighting in between. So my other entry is my lower side, right? So now I can start being this. Because I'm gonna do $100 trade on there, right? So we're just gonna keep like feeding it as it goes down. So when I see these leverages like right here, then I can pick up a little more space on there, and I'm feeding my Solana trade right now. So every time we're dipping, we have that. So on this, because my stop loss is a little bit higher on there, I'm always going to put like a 40 on there because I haven't really fully bought in. I'm going to do 100% on there. But every time I get where the percentage goes above -15, then I'm going to buy just a little bit like a 5-10%. And really what I'm doing is I'm just buying the sideways move right here till I'm in my position. So that's where a lot of times you can look for a solid move there. But you want to, if you're buying in this type of way before you're getting your confirmation, right? You're trying to pick your areas depending on your alert, right? Some alerts will have certain areas in there. It's kind of waiting for everything to turn. You just want to be buying when you start to see that level hit. So I want to keep this every time it's above 15. I want to buy a little bit more, buy a little bit more, and at that point, because I'm going to sacrifice, I'm willing to lose $25 on it, right? So that's where we kind of like pace ourselves through this. So that's why I want to keep that settled there. Now, all I want to do is check if as long as everything's going the way it's supposed to go, and looks like we're hitting again. RSI is down there, 3 minute. That's what I said. Anytime the 3 minute bends up, there's always another pullback, right? And we're really watching the money. So we're kind of hitting a floor here, which is good. Now, this is the point is like a lot of times guys would have entered up here, up here, up here, and we've already calculated for, our 20%. So we have already, absorbed that loss. So it's kind of giving us a double section to survive. Mhm. That's exactly. Yeah, you're trying to. So yeah, remember. So the system is based off to win, right? So how the system works is this: we not. So when the system catches all the alerts, right? When we get the trends and we get all those things happening, then that's when we enter, right? But we want to enter when the momentum's already moving up, right? So a lot of times when you look at the trade, a lot of guys will say, "Man, I could have entered way down there." But that's a coin flip, right? You're battling. Now you're this is where guys get caught in bad trades. Like right here, you're battling the extra move, right? And that costs us 20% right there. See what I'm saying? So now for me, it's like guessing on those entries. That's the one thing like it's not worth the move. But if you were going to be an entry guy, give yourself that extra 20-30% before you enter so you can start realizing things keep going down, right? So for me, if I'm doing a Solana trade, you already know I need confirmation, right? So for my confirmations, I need to first see a Solana 1 hour long on my alerts. You see what I'm saying? So right here, I can't even make a long trade based on the academy. So this is when you do support resistance and all the other shit that guys are trying to do, you run the risk 60% of the time you'll be right, but 40% you'll lose 20. So I don't want to be in a coin flip. I want to be in a win. Now, the reason I was talking about the other guys when I was just talking like on TikTok, like guys, if you're going to enter up here, just give yourself a 30% negative, right? Like for me, it'd be like, okay, if you thought you were going to enter there, then put your entry here. And guess what? Those guys who would have followed that simple rule would have literally been in here and they'd be in a pretty good position. It wouldn't be too bad, but they would have saved themselves, 40% right there. You see? So that's just kind of for like regular people, not guys in the academy because we're following indicators. Like we follow the trends and the alerts. But for like regular traders who are just out there trading, a good tip for them is to automatically add in the 30% negative into their entry, which will give them an extra 30% possibility. You see what I'm saying? So most of the time, what that's going to do is going to solve 50% of their losses because it's a lower entry, so they won't get stopped out 50% of the time that they normally do. And that'll give them extra money when it does go up for them a lot quicker than trying to get a higher target. You see what I'm saying? Now, for us, yeah, for us, we're not even in this trade. If you're in the academy, you're not even in this trade. So this trade's not even, yeah, we're not even making it. But that's why the indicators are so good is because why everyone thinks this should be a reversal, right? If we looked at Solana and everyone was doing like a basic trade, look at the day, it's pushing up. That looks good. You go to your 1 hour. What do you have? You have your RSI coming down, but you're in that little bit of level. You look at your 30-minute RSI, it's at the bottom, which means it's oversold. You look at your 15-minute RSI, it's oversold. So theoretically, there should be a bounce here, right? But we wait for the indicators to confirm, not the RSI, because the RSI is just a tool that says the narrative is oversold, right? But it doesn't tell you how much more they're going to sell, right? So currently for us, what does our indicator say? So we go over to our indicators and we look at our alerts. What is Solana? Solana basically right now on the 1 hour has been a short, short, short. So Solana is still a short. See what I'm saying? So we wouldn't even be in this trade until Solana's done being a short. So what do we need? We need a 1 hour alert to tell us that Solana's going long, which we don't have. So until we have that, we're going to assume that Solana's going to keep dumping, right? Now, for me, I was telling the guys that's what you were listening to is like guys on TikTok was if guys are going to start trading or learn to trading, if you're not in my academy, if you don't have my indicators, if you don't have the system we use, to do yourself a favor, like a pro tip would be on every one of your entries, take an extra 30%, depending on your leverage, factor in a 30% loss, and then set your entry at the 30% loss mark. because 8 out of 10 trades you make are normally 30% off. So that'll at least get you into trades in the correct, you'll have a better entry because normally you're down 30. And when you get your entry, now you're actually even. You see what I'm saying? So you saved yourself a 30% loss because right now they don't have the indicators. They don't have our indicators. They don't have our system. They're just, going off support and resistance, 200 moving averages. But this is why we don't use that type stuff. The only thing that these 200 moving averages are good for are targets, right? Once it breaks it, right? Like that should have been a 200 support level. Normally the 1500 is a good 200 support level. It broke. Now that it broke, you know that you're on a continuation short, which means you're probably going to come down to this 72.99 area, which is the actual trend line, right? So now you have all these people that do normal trading. They have to kind of like, they're doing a very simple system: support, resistance, and trend, right? Where we have the indicators that actually tell us when the money's coming in, so that we have a better idea of a reversal, right? So the tip that I was just giving them was like, hey man, if you're constantly losing 30% on your trade, well then start off 30% negative. Like put your entry already at that point. So that way when you do enter the trade, you can feel good and say, man, I saved myself 30%. Because that's a win. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's a win. This is a mental game, right? So for us, if we were targeting this, right, I'm the guy who always thinks that I have to be greedy. So for me, I wouldn't be on the 15-minute. I would go 15-minute trend, which is down here, not the 200 moving average, just because I'm greedy on my entry. So if I want to enter this trade, I'd be going way down here for an entry versus up here, because I'm always thinking that it goes down further than it wants to, and I'm always thinking that I want to pay less, right? So if I'm going to be greedy, I'm greedy on the entry, not on the run, right? And that's why with us, yeah, that's why with us we set a very simple 75x leverage. We take profits at 50% because we're just grabbing a piece of our pie, right? And it's one piece out of 12, right? We just need one tenth of what's happening here to pay out, right? And we can do that in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, right? Where everyone else is trying to get so much, we're just trying to get a one candle. We just want one good 5-minute candle, and we're done. Then that's it. We don't care if it keep. That's where guys get caught up, is they're like, well, man, but it could have ran to here. Okay, we don't deal in coulda, like close, could have, and all that. That's good for horseshoes, not for money. Right? We want to take 50% and then go somewhere else until it changes. 50% until something happens, right? So we already took the first short, we already made the money on there, and now it hasn't shown any bounce, it hasn't shown any like extra move that we can take advantage of a second time. It just keeps going. But that doesn't matter to us because now we're just waiting for it to show a reversal, right? Which we don't have. It still says Solana short, right? Now, if you want to run a position trade, which is a little different, you can take the 1 hour alert, right? And you can get in on the 15-minute moon. And then what you do is you do it like a 20x or a 30x, normally 20 to 30. And then when you do that entry, you're going to hold it until you get a 15-minute green moon. But that is also like the reason why we have a lower leverage is because we're holding it longer and we're anticipating wicks, right? We're anticipating bounces. So if you were playing the lower leverage, right, you got the 15-minute moon alert here, you would have entered here, right? But your entry would have been something like, 20, 25, 30%, which is still a good entry. Now you're going to hold this all the way until you get a 15-minute green moon. Now, right now, you got 30% times 4. So you're up 120% right now, right? So you're still in a good position. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to take 120% right now. Or actually, let's see what you're at right here. Doesn't mean you're going to take 120%. And where we're at around 30, 60. So you're up 75% right now. Now, we don't know if that's going to hold because you're still waiting for the green moon to come around. And you need at least a 5-minute green moon before you get out of this, right? So you're holding until at least the 5-minute green moon. Now, whenever that 5-minute green moon comes, you're going to close, which might come with a little bit of a pump, right? But at the end of the day, then this will be something we cover as we move forward, how to use the 1 hour alerts. But at the end of the day, you're still sitting on 30, 60, 90%, right? So you're not in a bad position, and your goal is to get above 50. So you're already in the win. You're extending it a little bit more. And this could be a runner. This could end up being a full-time bleeder. But either way, you're running the same steps, right? So it goes back to our alerts. So we get an alert on the indicator for a 1 hour Solana short. That triggers us to go look at a short. So then we go to our 15-minute, and 15-minute is validation. Now you can play this two ways, right? You can play a 25, 30x as soon as you see the 15-minute moon, right? And you can run that as long as your RSI is in your favor, which here it would have been. And you run that 30 and you just hold it until you get a 5-minute green moon, right? And you run that out. Or you scalp it, which is waiting for the 3-minute red trend to hit, and you scalp it at 75x and you target 50% profits immediately and you call it a day, right? Both of those end up working. The other one can give you longer runs, which are nice, but if it all depends on how many trades you're doing, right? So if you're doing a trade where you're not where you're not doing a constant trade, I like a quick hit and I'm done. Or you could set them for the 30, right? So what you can do if you have two setups. I know you have your son with you. He can play the 25x. You could play the 75 and see which one's paying out or what you like, and then move to that style. Because all I care about is 50% on the bag, right? We can do 50% every single time. I mean, we can't really complain. I mean, even if you're only running $100, every 10 trades you have 500. Then you compound, do 10 trades, move the 150 bag, compound, move it to 200 compound, and all you do is use profits until you got a $500 bag, $1,000 bag, and you're just running $500 bags on 3 or 4 different trades depending on the market, and you're just collecting the 50% on those. So that's the difference. It's like it's that's where people get confused with all the different styles. It's like, listen, the only thing that matters is the goal. The goal is to find a system that you can click and follow every single time off the same rules, right? The one thing about the indicators, they follow the same rules. So if the 1 hour pops up 2 or 3 times in a row, we catch a 15-minute moon, we will see a 1% move, right? Now, sometimes it runs longer. Sometimes it just pulls back a little and then goes on a run. That's why I don't do the 15-minute like 25x, is because now you're thinking of like a lot of times, like for instance here, right? But you didn't have that too. So depending on this alert, we probably didn't have a 1 hour alert there. It only pulls back so much when you have it, but you want to have an average of 1%. So that would have been 30%. So if you're doing a 25x, the one thing you have to do is that once you get above 20% or 25%, you need to move your stop loss to 0 so that the trade doesn't cost you anything. And then your targets are set for, your 75, 80, or your 100, but you need to be moving your stop loss and staying behind about 27%, 25%, and slowly move it up as you move, right? Because a lot of times these won't hold and they'll bounce, right? But whatever you took here, let's say you broke even here, you didn't move your stop loss, you went to 0. The next time it happened, you got in, and guess what? Now you're up 30, 60, 90%. So you're getting back, what you have. But that's why I do the high leverage, is because I just want to snag this quick 50% and be on my way, because I just want this quick move to be mine, boom, and I'm not concerned about the continuation. Now, law of averages, if you do 10 of these the way you're setting up a 25, you're doing 10 of them, you're probably going to catch a couple of them that do 3, 4, 500. You know what I mean? So it all depends on how you like to trade. I like to grab profits and move on. I'm not too concerned about, I get an alert on my 1 hour, I take advantage of it, and then I move on. I'm not concerned about a continuous run, not concerned about that, because then that would be, looking at the overall, right? And I'd look at my 1 hour, is the 1 hour crossed? Okay, we're probably going to get a longer run. Did the 2 hour cross, right? Didn't cross, which means there's still more Solana short coming. It just hasn't, happened yet. So there's always good possibilities, but it's just an unstable market where, things sell and then people buy like crazy and they sell. So you're always kind of at the mercy. But if you do your trades 10 in a row and you check your style and you say, okay, I'm following the alert. I get a 1 hour. I enter a 25x short or long, and I go off the moon, right? So this would be shorts. I go off the moon. And on average, I hold until I get a 5 minute green moon, right? And if that is giving me 120% every time I trade, and the only, let's say 7 trades you win 100%, and 3 trades you lose, you're 20% stop loss. Right? I mean, now you have an average. Then you can say, okay, 7 times I go 100 to 150. The times I lose 20. So that's 60% of that. So literally one trade covers my losses. That means 6 trades, I'm up 600% to 800%. But it's all the same steps, right? The only difference is when you're doing a 25, you're waiting for the 5 minute moon or 3 minute moon and trend to get out, right? So you have a specific way to close your trade. When you do high leverage, the way the trade closes is simply target. It hits 50% profits, it closes. So that's the way to really, hone in on how you make money, right? So whatever you like. So right now, what we're doing is we're going to do the next 4 weeks will be actually analyzing both these trades. So it's the same trade, same alerts, right? 1 hour alerts, and then we're going to enter off the same red moon, right? The only difference is one will be a 25% move, the other one will be a 75% move, and then we're going to track them. And at the end of the day, we can say, okay, these are the 10 trades that we did. If we had a 25x and went off of a 3 minute moon, we would have made 130%. On the 75x, we took 50% profits, right? And then we'll have those 2 trades. So that way people can see, like, doesn't matter how you pick them, they're all doing the same thing for you. They're getting you profits, right? You just need to learn how to analyze a 10 trade review and do the plug and play the same thing over and over so that like, okay, I get this alert, I go here, I get a moon, I enter. And this gives me my result. And this is just the way it is. And then once you got that locked in, then you have your system. You have your basic system right there.
Okay, so if you're gonna do like the position, so a higher margin, lower leverage, so you get your 1 hour alert, say your 1 hour alert for Solana short, and then you go to your 15, you already have the red moon. Are you automatically getting in, or are you going back to the 3 minute? Because I mean, a second ago it was just go, if you're gonna go ahead and
Still 3 minutes.
choose the
Still 3 minutes. So no matter what you do, if you see that moon, right, that moon pops up right there, right? And you're like, all right, I'm doing a 25x, right? I always want to slide in my 3 minute. And the one thing that I want to see at the end of the day is I want to see a red moon there, right? And then boom, the trend hits right here. And now you're in your trade. But now you're sitting in
Okay,
this
so
trade.
you're not worried about the 15-minute trend. You just need to have the 1 hour alert.
Mm-hmm,
Go to the 15. So 1 hour alert, Solana short.
mm-hmm,
Go to your 15. You have the red moon. Go to
boom.
the 3 minute. You got your red moon, red trend,
There you go.
and then you're entering basically normal checklist, normal entry system that we've
Correct.
always done.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Except that you're not worried about on the 15-minute, you're not worried about the trend showing up because basically you're doing, let's just say 15% leverage and you're
Yeah.
just going to let it run. Whereas if we were doing 75% leverage, then we're going to the Solana 1 hour short alert, go to the 15-minute, do you have your moon? Then you're also waiting for the trend to show up at that point also?
Yeah, so when you hit your 15 minute, like say, boom, it's not there, right? So the first thing I would do is I would set an alert on it, right click it, add an alert, go down once per minute. I'd slide across, I put 15-minute soul, right? And then boom, I click, and now I got my position and I'm there. So now I can jump to my 3 minute. And as soon as I start seeing, because I want to see in my alerts that it's starting to tell me that the 15 minutes coming, and then I have confirmation that I can use the 3 minute moon and trend at that time to get into my trade. But if it's not showing up, I'd be waiting and I'm waiting and then I'll get a bounce and then it shows up. Then I take the next 3 minute red trend and move. Right. So the 15 minute, when you set the alert, once you're done with it, you just get rid of it because you're not using it anymore. Yeah, you just exit out of it. But that's just to help you while you're looking at your 3 minute to confirm what you're seeing on the 3 minute is confirmation of what the move you're going to make. So if I'm at this moon and I'm going along and I see the 15-minute Solana alert hitting and hitting, then I'm like, man, as soon as I get a trend and boom, I'm in, right? Maybe that doesn't show up to here. I get a trend and I'm in, right? But either way, we're still using that same thing, right? And that's just, you just want to get to where you're staying on that side. If you're doing the 15, right? Let's say you're doing the 15 and you don't have your 15-minute trend, right? I don't like that. That's where a lot of times for me, it's like you got to have that confirmation there. But if you have the 15-minute moon, you would still go to the 3 minute, right? And you would say, okay, I got my moon. I just need a 3 minute moon and trend, right? Which would put you here. You have a moon and then you catch a trend. Now, does it pop up? Yes, it pops up on us, right? But you're only doing a 25x anyways. So you have all this extra space to pop up. So you're safe there. So you're pretty in a good spot. The only other thing that I would do is like when I go to make that entry, I would be entering where the 3 minute is topped and then headed down, or at least move, exhausted in the opposite direction and starts moving for me. So that's the only thing I would add is just use your 3 minute for your entries. Yeah, yeah, you still want a little bit of, you always want to be a little greedy on there, right? So I want my RSI to finish out. I see it pushes up and then it crosses there, and then I would take my entry in this spot here. So because I already have my moon, and then as soon as the RSI pushes up and bends down, now I'm buying in here. So I would be somewhere in this zone there. And now you're holding, and you'd actually still be holding until you get a 3 minute moon and trend, which is that's what we're kind of like working on here. So all the same steps, all the same system, just basically you're always walking yourself through. It's just how you close is different. Once you enter, it's slightly different because you're jumping in before you have the full, setup, but it's pretty much on the edge. But when you close is different because you're extending the rally. So you're looking for a 3 minute moon and trend to close, and you're looking for a very specific close, right? Where when you do high leverage, you're just closing on money. As soon as it hits the target, it's over. But we're gonna literally cover these two trades the entire time. So everything is 1 hour, right? Everything's gonna be the 1 hour side, and then we're just using the trades on the 1 hour to basically trigger off the trades that we're doing. But they're all the same steps. So 1 hour trade, then from the 1 hour trade, what do we need? We'd have 15-minute moon. And the only difference is lower leverage just needs a red moon, red trend, where higher leverage needs the confirmation of the 15-minute, thing. But you should be doing that anyway, setting a 15-minute alert. So while you go look at the 3 minute, if it's starting to show up, that just gives you more confidence that you're in a good spot. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying because the alerts on the side to say 3 minutes. Yeah, no, they're on the 1 hour. Yeah, and this is where so see how Solana we finally got a 3 minute. See how we got our moon, and then it kept falling, and now we had a red moon, and there was a push here. See that push right there is if you're going to continue with Solana short, you'd say, okay, this is where it's starting to show revival. So now what I like to see is two moves, right? So here's your final move. There's finally a green move. What I need is Solana to come back down, do another move, and I need it to create at least an even or a higher high there. Then I would say, okay, we are now currently in a buy zone, right? So for me, that's kind of if you're charting or stuff like that, that's how you would look at something and say, okay, I need to find a buy zone. And that's what we're looking for. As you can see over here, Solana did its bounce, but it never recovered. Now it's bouncing again, right? So if you're looking to figure out where a dump is coming down at ending, then it'd be, when it starts to do this type of shit. But for me, with the indicators and everything, I'm not even concerned about it because the only thing I need to know if Solana is going to go the other direction is I need an alert from my indicator to say 1 hour long Solana. Until I see that alert, then I don't even really like care because then everything else is a 50%, possibility. And I don't want to coin flip. I want to make money. Like I don't want to be staring at a chart waiting for Solana to, figure out what it wants to do. I'd be better off going over to, the charts that are active and actually getting, into trades that are, constructive. So for instance, I'm in AVAX right now, right? So AVAX, the short that I'm going to close because I'm holding it will be a green moon, green trend, right? So I don't have that yet. So to alert me to know
On the 3 minute or the 5 minute?
3 minute, 3 minute, because I'm already up, so I'm greedy, right? I'm always like, yeah, I'm always greedy. So I'll put once per minute. I have a long, right, and then all I'm going to do is put my 3 minute Solana long, and I'm going to put it on there. Now, when I start getting that alert on AVAX, then I'll know that I need to close out my trade. But right now I'm pretty good, right? So when I go to my trade, I'm just moving my, see, we're at 94%. All I'm doing is moving my take profit. So now we're at a 150 take profit on the Solana short. I'm going to move it to 200 just in case there's a wick. But my stop loss is at 70%. So no matter what happens in this trade, I'm going to make my 70%, but I'm going for, 200 plus, right? And this is what I'm saying. Like my goal is to, when you trade with $100 bag, it's always 50%. When you trade $1,000 bag, it's always 50%. It's always the same thing. So once you get into a rhythm of finding out how to make money every single time, well then you just apply the same steps. You don't change the steps. That's why the indicators are nice because once you set your alerts, you're just following alerts, right? You're not guessing, you're not wondering, you're just okay, this did this, did this, did this, right? And then you just go look for the setup, right? But you're not like trying to figure out are we going to do a bull flag, are we on a descending triangle, or we're doing all this other shit. The only thing that matters is money. Is there money coming to the coin? Yes. If it's not, then it doesn't matter. And right now, Solana's losing money. And until that 3 minute alert says that Solana's making money, then I know that it's going to continue to lose money. So that's kind of like the thing on there. So if you see like right here, if I'm watching AVAX and it's been a while, I can come in here and if I look at a chart and I say, all right, how are we looking at it? 3 minutes at the bottom, it's got a bounce. 15 minutes is at the bottom. It's been on the bottom for a long time. This is probably going to reverse here. 30 minutes is at the bottom. Let me take a look at my 1 hour. My 1 hour is still finishing up its move. And it hasn't broken below. Like for me, volume is king, right? So see how the 1 hour, the volume isn't below that 4 line yet, right? So if it breaks that 4 line, then we're in a really good short. But if it stays above it, which normally it'll bounce off there, and that's where it'll find a reversal for a little bit, and then it'll push, and then it'll come back down. But so far, the money hasn't changed, so it's heading down. Then I go to a 30 minute, and the money is still heading down, so we still look good. So the only thing that would deter me here is to see the money change, right? Money still says it's not coming in. So money's still down, and you can see here we're still on the 5 minute. We still haven't found any support here. So until I see something like a 2 minute green, 2 minute trend happen, I'm not too worried about the short. I'm just gonna let it ride. We're doing all right. There we go. So it clicked out. And on there, we're happy with that move. So at the end of the day, Solana play, you took your 66%. You're like, good job. But we had chances to run. We have bigger fish on there that we could roll. But that's kind of like the basics. So if you can learn just to do the consistency of always hitting your 60% and plus, it's like, you can't really lose on it. Just compounding money.
Right.
And that's what I was trying to show guys. Like, I'm trying to show guys is that it's not about, 400% gains. It's about consistently winning every trade, right? That's all we want to do, right? Consistently win every single trade so that it's just wins, right? Nothing else. And that's why the steps that we take are very simple. Boom, 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 boom. Right? You can't mess them up. It's the same trade over and over. You're just deciding that if you're going to play a 25%, 30% leverage, or you're going to play the 75 and take quick profits, or you're going to play the other one and go for runners, right? And then you can try both styles, and then at the end of it, say, well, you know what, this pays off more, right? And then pick what you want. To me, If I make my 10 trades based on my 1 hour and I do a 75x at 50% or profit, yeah, I win literally, I probably win 90 out of 100 trades. So it's like, what? It doesn't matter if, you know what I'm saying? Once you find a dollar, you just keep making it. But I can also see where guys hold it. I see guys hold it and they go for three, 400%, which is great. So you can do a 25x, little less, stress on the stop loss and all that other stuff. And the odds are if you stay with that system, you're going to have times where you'll probably see more losses than I do, right? Because you're going to have bounces that happen a lot quicker, right? But the reality is, even though you get stopped out or you break even on a couple trades, when you do hit your 15-minute moon trade and it goes for its move, well, at that point, you basically make three, 400% when I'm making 50. So your losses, even though they might be three out of 10 losses, or 4 out of 10 versus my 1 out of 10 loss, but your wins will be 3 to 4 times longer if the market's correct for you, right? And that's kind of where it all evens out. But you have to, when you do a certain style, you have to realize that you base your average on 10 trades, not one trade, right? So that's what a lot of guys make the mistake. They take one trade and it goes bad and like, and then they don't realize if they stay with it, it does what they expected it to do. It just took a little bit longer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what the whole next, 4 weeks and 6 weeks is going to be about, is just doing this one step over and over and over, and then putting in the 10 trades and the style and what works and how to basically stop changing how you do things so that you can sharpen up your tools and get better at what the basics are so that way you can move forward better. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I think on that side, just basics on here.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, all right. Like I said, I'll go ahead and mute myself. I don't know if anybody else is
All right,
saying
you good, bro?
anything or if you jumping out, but I'm good.
Yeah, it was just like covering the basics on there. Anthony. It's just doing the yeah, we just want to stay focused where we're doing the same thing, compounding, not changing anything, just doing the basics. And Solana, like I said, Solana was going to see that bounce there. So that's kind of what alpha will be, where we go in, explaining entries and all that. People, guys, will learn a little bit, how to anticipate an entry or a reversal a little bit better. And then for me, it's always the indicators, right? So here's our 2 minute green trend, right? So this is where I would look at Solana and say, oh, we got a green trend. This is where I would first take my alerts and be aware that Solana's thinking about a reversal, right? So now we know that in this section here, Solana's got its little move. It didn't pull back as much as it wanted, but it bounced. And now we have this buy zone down here that, we can see that that's our target area. So what I want from here is I'm going to watch the 3 minute RSI come back down. And then if it goes down further then before, then I know I'm working with a weaker coin and that, it has a little more time to build. But if it starts to show support in this area here, which is a normal area of support for it, then we know that we're starting to get good momentum, right? Which means people are actually like, starting to pick up Solana, getting alerted that Solana's at a certain price, hit a support. And obviously, if you go back and look at the chart, you can see that Solana's on a support zone here anyways. The support zone is this little in between this section here, which is pretty much where it's hidden. So that's where charts are. Charts are good to kind of have guesstimations, right? There's a support line right there, and here's a resistance line right there. So Solana has this buy zone here, right? And then we go to Solana. If our alerts and our indicators start telling us that in this section, it's actually heating up by our indicators, then that also just confirms that, okay, this is probably a good area. All right, so that's something to kind of learn there. But for me, it's like I like simple stupid. I like an indicator just to let me know what I'm trying to figure out, and then I know where I'm at. Right. So we have a 2 minute trend. We got a 3 minute moon. Here's our pump from our 3 minute moon. We'll get a pullback if we can get a 3 minute trend, right? And then we know that we're starting to. This is the area that we want to look for. And then as soon as we get a Solana long on our 1 hour alert, then we can dig in. Otherwise, this will just be a bounce and then it'll continue down. You see what I'm saying? We just don't want to get caught in the the trend, right? We want to be in the right movement, right? So that's the whole thing about being patient and waiting for, for it to, build. Otherwise, like I said, down here in this box here, you'd be buying every time it went below this box. So you'd have bought here, 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 here. You cost average buy. Here's a push. More than likely, it's going to come back. You buy some more, and then you're kind of in a coin flip if things don't go your way, and then you're boom, right? So that's why guys who do trades and charts and all that, 60% of the time is the win, 40% of the time is the loss. The problem is, right, no one ever talks about this, is that you can't calculate exact losses when you're cost average buying inside this buying box, right? Because you're putting 50, putting 50, putting 50. If you're not good mathematically, right, and you don't understand like how to control your risk, right? You're only supposed, that's why guys say use 1% of your bag, 2% of your bag, right? Because you're supposed to be doing that, right? But guys are buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, and they're not calculating the entries correctly. And instead of buying $5, $5, they might buy 15. They might buy 10. They might buy 30. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, I'm 100 in. But then it dips again and they're like, oh shit, I got to put another 50 to protect my 100. And then it pushes up and it comes back down like shit, another 50. But you only are supposed to have $50 in the trade, but now you got 250 in the trade. And then it dumps 20%, right? And instead of you losing 20 or $10 on the main trade or $20, you end up losing 60 because you can't calculate cost average buying. And that's why when people trade, their profit P&Ls are terrible, is because when you do a system like charting like this, if you're not good at mathematics, which most people aren't, you're going to lose more when you aren't right than you win when you are. Because more than likely, if you started cost average buying here and then it blew up, you probably got $50 in the trade and then it went for 200%. You made, 150. But if you got 250 in here and it goes bad, you end up losing 75. See what I'm saying? So your 40% losses are twice as much as your wins. That's why when people's P&Ls, you look at them, it's like, oh, I'm averaging 20% on the month. And some people think that's great. Right. So me, I don't want to get caught in all this, bullshit. I just want to know when it has pressure, I'm going to take a piece of the pressure and then I'm going to walk away. Do I care if it does anything more, anything? I don't. Right. This is how I traded like this for 10 years. Like, if people were on here 3 years ago, all the charting we did, we had the greatest entries. Like for me, this is your entry zone down here. And people always see pumps, they get in and then it dumps on them, right? But instead of having to have experience of volume, money, and all that other shit, this is why the indicators are here. Now they just tell you when things are right, right? So you don't have to have any experience in charting and all this other shit. You just need to know that the indicator says there's a long, right? And so far, Solana doesn't have a 1 hour long. So all this mess right here means nothing to me because it's not confirmed. See what I'm saying? And that's kind of what it is. What? That's what I have been doing. Yeah. Yeah, that's what you guys do. I mean, that's kind of like the problem is when you guys trade off charts, candles and, ascending triangles, 60% of the time they're accurate, 40% of the time they're not. Now, that puts you at a 60-40, which is already terrible. But if you don't control how much money you're putting in and out, that 60-40, that 40 becomes 60. So it's really even, right? And if you're really bad, 60 becomes 80, and that's why you're down 20% of the time, right? Stelios, what up, baby? So this is why you have to understand if you're going to learn how to trade, the very first thing you have to do is find a system that you can go 1, 2, 3. You need to repeat the same steps over and over so that you have a system that you can follow and then you can get results, right? So if the results keep coming back and after 10 results, you find that you're winning, out of 10 trades, you made 300%, well, then you're doing all right, right? You should average 200 to 300% even if you suck. But if you're good, you should be 6 to 1200%, right? So now you know that, oh, if I have 100, I'm going to make 300 at the end of 10 trades, right? And if you do that over and over, well, there you go. You have a system. And then you can sharpen your system by getting better on your entries. But you do the same thing over and over so that you have a consistent data, right? You can't change the data and the way you do things and then try to figure out what you do wrong. It makes no sense. right? This is all common sense. So the very first tip that I was giving people, right? Or you got Solana retracing back to 55.60. Now, see, that's what I mean. Like you're talking charting, right? Now, if I charted for you, right, this is a different scenario. I don't care what Solana does, but if I was going to chart or do whatever, right? If you guys want to, understand, there's different types of trading. My system is based off of charts and indicators already. So the indicators are already actually reading the charts for me, so I don't have to, right? But if I was going to be a guy who said, okay, let me see what, you're talking about Solana retracing to 50 to 60, right? Now I have to go to my daily, right? It's very simple to do. Shit ain't that hard. And this is all guesstimation size, right? So you go to your daily, right? If you want to kind of understand, right? And pick up your daily, and here's some very simple tools, right? So first of all, let's see where everything's set up here. Okay, so go to my daily, and I have um, Fibonacci set up here. So my very first thing is anything above my Fibonacci, my 236 is overbought, right? And that's where we're at right now. So we're not quite in price discovery for Solana because the volume and the indicators are still here. If it breaks 77 right here, the 77 line, the zero line here, we could see where we could be heading towards um, price discovery, where we could be catching a new floor, building up from there. But at the end of the day, if I had to look at Solana on the overall, first thing I would do here is I would take a peek here, and I can see I have a red moon, but I don't have a red trend or red volume. And more importantly, the volume on Solana is actually bending up, but it's starting to move, starting to slow down, right? So this is a daily, which means over the next 3 days, Solana is going to slow down, right? Which kind of makes sense because what we had Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So look for Monday and Tuesday to be shitty for Solana, right? So now slide over and go to my 4 hour. Okay. I can see my 4 hour RSI is starting to slow down, meaning that people are losing interest in Solana. It's overbought. But the only thing I really care about is money. So here we go. Money's coming down. So Solana's slowing down overall. Now I take a look at a volume profile. All right. This is called the volume profile. And taking a look at the volume profile, I can see that the targets for Solana are going to be in this area here and this area here, right? And quite frankly, this is the main area here. This is a sub area, right? So the targets for Solana on the move down are going to be $60, and the lowest it's going to be is 58. So what did my boy say? Solana retracing back to 55.60 range. So now you guys know how charters estimate how 60 to 55 is a range, right? Took me 2 minutes, right? This shit ain't hard, right? Now, personally, on its way down there, it could take many routes, right? I want to make money all the way through. But if you're, let's say you're someone who's a hodler holding your crypto, then you want to pay attention to these types of moves, because at the end of the day, that's what we're looking at. Now, for me, that's how you get a range of Solana, 60 to 58, right? So he's got 55 to 60. It's a bigger ballpark, but 58 would be the normal. And if you take a little bit more on it, you'd be sitting about 50, 56, 57. So 55 is fine, right, in that area. So that's how you chart out a basic ideal of what Solana is going to do. Now, you don't know if Solana is going to do that because basically, based on a chart, that means that they have 3 to 7 days. Within that 3 to 7 days, a lot can happen. Money can come in, people can sell all their Bitcoin, the market can crash. There's a lot of things that can happen, right? But the ideal is that this is the area of support and resistance, and this is where Solana should go, 57 to $60, which makes sense. Now your ideal is, how do I get there, right? Now there are some support areas there. Most people aren't recognizing that Solana has support at $66.97, $67. So there's support there. So for me, Solana is probably going to retrace to there, bounce up, and then find its way down. And by doing that, the 200 moving average is going to curl over, which means to me, Solana is probably going to go down to about 60, 63, $64, right, in this area here. And then that's where I think Solana will come down to and then make its bounce, right? So that's kind of where, if you're looking at your charting, that's how to tell an area, right? So now let's dig into the 1 hour to see what we have more currently, right? So currently, Solana's on a pull down. If I'm looking for a target, the target would be 71.48, right? So Solana on that pullback, if it gets a 1 hour red trend, which it hasn't gotten yet, That's what we're kind of like, we're waiting on to see where we're at with Solana. Right now, we currently have a green trend. It had a pullback, it pulled back, and it's done. So quite frankly, Solana looks like it's going to have a bounce here, right, and make its move back up. It's probably going to retouch $77 before it does anything. So right now, the way Solana's set up is that it's currently heading back up, right? So it has some momentum, has some bounce here, but once again, you're dealing with the market of, you don't know how many people are going to buy, you don't know what the market conditions are, but theoretically right now volume is, coming to the bottom of Solana, right? You see here it's negative, but it hasn't fully committed to like a full sell off, right? So it's holding its zone. So if Solana comes down, we'd be looking for it to touch about 72.40, bounce off here, and then come back up to 75, and then but right now it's starting to make its move up, starting to look good, right? So for me, Solana's going to move up here. Solana's going to bounce here. All right. Go to the 30-minute, RSI's at the bottom, everything's set up. So if I was charting Solana, on a daily, I can see where your target could be 60 to 67, right? 60 to 64 would be my target for Solana on a pullback. And that's just because the daily's still bending up here, which means it's going to take 3, 4, 5 to 7 days to actually fully round. By the time that happens with pressure, sell pressure, you're going to move down probably about 5 to maybe 15%. So if I measured Solana out from where it's at here to $64 here, that would give me what? 15%. See, that's what I just say, 15%. See, shit ain't hard, man. And that would be where I would say they pull back here 15%, 64 to 63, 66 would be your target. So that's how easy it is to chart. The problem is that that's a 7 to 14-day analysis, and a lot can happen in that time, right? So this is why I don't really care about charting anymore, even though I'm really, really fucking good at it, right? So all I need is to know what's happening today and when I want to make money, right? Because I make money daily, not weekly or monthly, right? So overall, right now, I can see I'm in a overall positive situation for Solana, but it is starting to lose some volume, which is what we're watching here. And what we're going to do is take advantage of that. So right here, the 4 hours about to cross, negative volume. So Solana looks like, on the overall, it's going to take a hit, maybe slide down to 71.60 sometime in the next day or so. And what we want to do is take advantage of the bounce that it has and get into another short and then short it again down to its section. So we'd be shorting Solana. And we're going to be aiming for this target right here, 71.60, right? So now that we know that we have that target, and we're just going to basically come into our 15-minute, and all we're going to do is every time the 15-minute bounces and comes up, when it returns back down, we're just going to take another short. Now, this does look like it's going to pan out that way because Solana is now up against a 15-minute 200 moving average. You guys see that right there? It's going to hit it. It's going to reject. It has to break that. So it has to get above 74.55 for it to even consider to be in a situation where it can run, right? So that's a lot to do, is to break a 200 moving average when you're on the 15 minutes. So more than likely, this is going to end up being Solana's dead zone, and then it's going to pull back, and that's where we're going to target our moving average. So go to your 15-minute, right? And this is how you draw a trend line. All right, go down your 15-minute, right? Okay, now I'm looking for the bottom of wicks, right? So you see this wick here, guys? So you start your line here at the bottom of this wick, and you pull up and you find another wick, right? You want at least 3 wicks total, which makes a really good one, but you need your 2. So here's our bottom, here's our other bottom. So currently the trend for Solana, which only means that it's a 60% possibility of hitting it, right? 60%. But just so you understand, there's a trend here, right? And on that trend, right? You guys see that trend now, right? See that? See how we got that trend? So I'm going to take the white line and I'm going to put it on my trend. And I'm just going to extend it to where, and then guys, if you have R indicators, all this shit's already drawn out for you. So our indicators draw all this shit out for you, even though we don't really use charting, but they're just um, things that you can use, right, for support. So now we have this situation where Solana should come down to here. So if I had to guesstimate and chart this out, I would say Solana is going to pull back to 73.72, right, which would be here to here. And then Solana would make a bounce and jump back up into this pocket up here at about 74.19. And then it eventually will come back down to here, and we'll see a little bit of volume push to here. And then Solana will then break down, and that's where we'll have our target of 71.57. So I'll keep that up for you, and we'll track it through the week. But that's how I would expect Solana to play out. Now, does any of that shit matter to me? No. So I have indicators, right? So the only thing I care about is when the indicator tells me to make money. So you see how that indicator right there just went red to green? All right, so this was just green, right? Just went red. Okay. Now, yeah, he said good info though. Yeah, I mean, if you gotta understand what you're doing if you're out there doing it. So you gotta at least have ideas of how to do it right, right? So I mean, I can show you guys how to do all this shit, but I want you to always understand that when you chart, use patterns, or do any of these things, they only have a 60% to 65% win rate, right? Which means you're going to be against it every single time, like a coin flip. You need to still, no matter what you do when you trade, it's about how much money you trade and how much you lose, right? It's like poker, right? I don't know how many people play poker. Hit ones in the chat. How many people play poker, right? I fucking love poker, right? And you know why I love poker? Is because if you play poker long enough, right? Just like if you make enough trades, right? If you play poker long enough and you learn how to lose the least amount of money when you lose and maximize your wins, you will always fucking be excited. Trading's the same way. If you learn how to maximize your losses, because you will lose, and you learn how to, minimize your losses but maximize your wins, then that's how to do it. The problem with you guys when you DACA or DKA or cost average buy into something is you don't know how to stop. Right? Well, if you have $100 and you got 40 in and then 20 more and then 20 more and then 20 more, but you keep putting in, you go beyond your 100. And when you lose, instead of 20% on 100, you lose 20% on 300. So your $20 loss becomes 60. So what you did is just cost yourself two other fucking losing trades that you could have maybe possibly won, but you've already took that money out of the equation because you want to keep fucking DACAing in when you don't you can't accept the fact that you're wrong, right? And it's not that you're wrong, it's just that the market changed, right? Which happens, right? There's losses. Nobody's invincible. But if you learn a system to do it correctly, your losses will be less and your wins will be more. That's just the way, right? I mean, that's just how it is, right? That's just the way it is. Like that's how it goes, guys, right? That's just how it goes, right? So what I'm trying to do is just show you guys if you're not in my trading academy, right? So if you're not in the academy, I just want to give you some tips to show you how to stop losing so much money so that you make this is the 15 minute chart. This is so you guys don't lose as much on your losses and you learn how to make more money. All right, so here, AVAX 3 minute long is going off, right? AVAX 1 hour long. Okay, so now we got an AVAX 1 hour long, right? So we get an indicator. Here's our indicator. And we have a 3 minute soul popping off. So it's kind of like popping in there, but we're going to rock this out. Right? So there we go. So we have a little bit of reversals coming on AVAX and Solana. And let's go post that in the Discord. Let's go. I like that. Okay. All right. So now we're just going to go take a look at AVAX real quick because we're getting an alert that AVAX has a long coming up, right? Okay. So now let's figure out how to make this happen correctly and actually move through this. So now that we have an alert, right? Now we come over here and the only thing that we care about on our alert. Now notice that, see guys up here, see how these are all green? See these two are green? That's what we don't have on Solana. We don't have green yet. That's why we don't look at Solana for long. But now we go to our 15 minute, right? All right, there we go. Solana 3 minutes. So we got longs popping in here, right? So now we need a 15-minute green moon on our AVAX, which is right here. It's headed, our 15 minutes bending up. We're good. Now we need to slide to our 5 minute. We need a green moon, which we have. And this just lets us know that this is an area that we can start taking our entries into this point. 5 minute moon, 5 minute trend. So we got a nice little section. So we want to be greedy on our entries. So we want to start off here and say, okay, this next pullback on this 5 minute will be where we start thinking about entries. So somewhere around 42.83. And all we're waiting is for confirmation, and we need a 3-minute green moon, green trend, right? So there you go, 3-minute moon, see that moon right there, and 3-minute green trend. There we go, and I'm gonna mark that entry, right? So that 3-minute moon is at 43.076, right? 43.7. So now we have an entry here at 43.7, and this is the beginning of our longs, right? So let's go over here, find AVAX. Okay, slide into AVAX. All right, so we got 74.8, and I'm going to take 74.7. I want to buy less. AVAX, there we go. 43.10. So anything below 43.10, 43 cents is where we want to target. And so the first setup is to be in a better entry. So we had 43 cents. So we're going to be a little more greedy. We're going to enter at 43, and I'm just going to do a simple 5% there just to make sure that I have an alert going. All right, now I go to AVAX. I'm looking for my 3-minute move. I have my moon, I have my trend. This is a long position. So this is where we're at here. All right, so now the next entry here is going to move me over to where I get a 5-minute green moon, which I have. So that's my confirmation for a long. So the only thing I'm missing here is my 15-minute moon. All right, so now I go over here, go to my 15-minute moon, and I just need to set a quick alert on there. Right click on the moon, set an alert, and this is my 15-minute moon. I want that once per bar, and this is on what, AVAX? AVAX. Okay, create. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, now we have all that set up in there. Let me get rid of one of these alerts. All right, 3-minute soul I can get rid of. I don't need. All right, let's hit that 15-minute again. All right, so AVAX, guys, you get a long on AVAX. So depending on your leverage, depending on how you do it, if you're a spot trader, AVAX right now would be an entry. If you're a low leverage player, AVAX would be an entry. 15-minute AVAX. Moon. Okay. So right now AVAX would be the 43 cents would be an entry for you, and we're gonna probably be entering at the same part. All right, so I got my one entry there. I'm doing an ADX long, so I got my first, entry at 43 cents. So now I'm gonna look for a 43, a little bit below where it's currently at. Set an entry in there, and then I'm gonna go a little bit lower at 43.04. I'm starting to catch some of these wicks that are popping up there. I want to get my bag because I'm doing a $200 bag or $100 bag. I'm at least 50% into this bag here as we move, as we're waiting for the follow through alert, right? So for us right now, we're just waiting for an alert over here that's going to say 15-minute AVAX long. That'll put us in our trade here. But like I said, if you're doing spot, if you're doing 10, 20, like I wonder if I could do a but we'll track it anyway. So if we were doing a 25x leverage, right? Let me put the text there and we'll track this trade. Okay, so let's say 30x entry on 3-minute moon and trend. Okay, so that would be our spot, and we'd be entering at that 43.07. And there you go. Bada boom, bada bing. So that would be our 30x leverage entry. And that's how we know if we got our 25x. Now, if we're high leverage, we need to get our confirmation. We need a 15-minute confirmation, right? And we're going to start being a little more greedy. So on this zone here, we're going to start aiming for under 43 cents. And that's where we're going to dig in a little bit here. All right, so now we got half our bag in. And now we're just waiting on that full confirmation. Anything below, so now you take, as our entry is, our average entry is 43.04, right? So now I want a 42. And I want to find a wick, right? So let me go back to AVAX, and I want to aim for this area here. So My aim would be about 42.30. So it's waiting for our ticker. Tick, 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 tick. So 43 cents seems to be an average for us, right? So we'll set a couple 5% buys on there to see if we can get back down there. If not, it's not that big of a deal. We have half a bag in right now. We're just going to kind of ride it. I'm going to set a little bit lower, 42.90, just to see if I can. Now I want to be a 10% entry if I can snag that real quick. Okay. So now just a matter of waiting, guys. All right. So entries. All right. 15-minute AVAX moon. So we're looking for an alert that's going to tell us that a moon is coming, and that's going to be our entry. So right now, AVAX on a long, guys, 43 cents is the entry, and we're going to roll from there. For us on our system, we're just waiting for confirmation of a moon, which will be right here. We're just waiting for that alert so we can actually get it. And I'm going to track all entries so that way you guys know if you wait solidly for the move to happen, or you're taking the 3-minute moon and trend entry, which is what I did. I'm just actually my leverage. Is there something else I can help with? Yeah, order me a steak. And I can help you find steakhouses. If you turn on location services, go to privacy settings, select location services, scroll to Syrian dictation, and allow location access. Okay. I want to know where I'm at. So right now, the 30x entry is 43.07, right? That's kind of like our 30x entry. I'm actually on an 80x leverage, so I need to cost average buy as we move through here. But that's the entry that I'm in just to kind of watch how it makes moves. So on our entry here, currently we're up 16%, which if I was on a 30x, I would be up 10%. Right? So we're winning right now on our 30x leverage. We're doing all right. I'm just waiting for that. I'm just waiting for another entry piece on the overall. Right? So you guys can see I'm on an 80x, right? So if you were doing a 30x, maybe half of this, a little bit half. So you'd be up 10% right now. And now we're at 30%. We're growing, but like I said, it always comes back down. So I'm just waiting for my confirmation. What's up, Discord? Y'all in there? Bonk, please, guys. Bonk. Guys, let me tell you about Bonk. I'm just going to go over Bonk real quick. Be very careful with Bonk because everyone's buying those Solana cell phones. It's a hell of a strategy they put together. So they got Bonk way up to where you get, you can bet you get $700 out of Bonk, but your cell phone costs 600. It's like giving you a free Solana phone. When you guys, everyone starts ordering those phones before they actually get to before they arrive, they're going to dump Bonk and bring that price way down, and that way you're only getting $100 worth of Bonk or 200. But Bonk does look pretty good right now. It looks like they are pumping Bonk. So guys, Tick Strike blowing up. Let's fucking go. Tick Strike. What's Tick Strike? So guys, if you have any questions, if you want to jump in, you're learning the academy. If you want to get into any questions, if you want to understand indicators, trading, and all that other shit, the email or the Gmail is the same as the channel. It is VC Crypto Nation. VC Crypto Nation at Gmail. So send me an email. If you're in the US, right? If you're in the US, send a cell phone as well. Right? It's the only way that I'll talk. I won't hit you on WhatsApp. I'm not going to hit you on I don't know what else that they use. Nation. I don't do WhatsApp. I won't contact you on right crypto. There we go. VC Crypto Nation. So same as the channel, just VC Crypto Nation at Gmail, right? So I don't talk on WhatsApp. I'm not going to send you a message on TikTok. I don't have other TikTok accounts. So if you get a message from me and it's not this account, right? And you can just go look at my followers. If it's not this account and I'm only following 3 people, then you know it's not me, right? So, but if you want to talk to me, if you want to enter a Discord, make sure you're not talking to a fake Discord admin. Send me an email at vccryptonation at gmail, and then I will give you the link to get into the Discord and how to take a course and all that other stuff. All right, so let's get over here and get some buys in here. All right, so AVAX is coming back down to our buy zone, right? So see how it always comes back? It's always back to where it starts, right? Where's my trade at? Need to get back in there. Trade. Where's my trade? Okay. So 43 cents is our buy-in area. That's what we're going to do until we get our full alert here. Get in there. And we're happy with that area. Remember, you know, we're also set up to take, we're looking at 20% loss on that area. Come on. Let's see. Come on. Stop playing games. Okay. So we're always set up to, like, you know, you don't win every trade. So you have to set yourself up to where we are set up to lose $20 on a trade. So that means if we're doing a $100 trade, we have a 20x. If I increase above $100, then I can only take a 10x. What is going on, Messi? That's where my money, Holmes. Okay. So, see my order history. 42.90, 43 cents. So we didn't get another entry. It didn't go low enough to re-enter us any, so we didn't get the rest of our bag filled yet. But we're still locked in at 43 cents and $42.90, right? But once again, we're also still waiting for our full alert before we can enter more, which is a 15-minute AVAX moon alert, which we don't have quite yet. But entries 43 cents, 43.07 on a long position for AVAX. That's right, Dumar. My boy comes in. Dubdmar. Worst advice ever. Even though you win every trade, your advice is terrible. It is terrible, my friend. Terrible to win every trade. Right, Dumar? Follow Dumar. He's smarter guy. You lose like everyone else, and you like it. That's the Dumar way. You're like that guy that came in, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and tried to tell me how Bitcoin was going to go down, and I told him it was going to pump. Yeah, you can go play over there with him as well, bro. Dumar. Show me your trades, Dumar. Put them on your TikTok. Let me see your wins, bro. You gotta. Everyone's allowed to come in here and talk to me and challenge me every day. I'm good with that. I actually appreciate that. Come in here, tell me your trades. Dumar, listen, I'm here, bro. Tell us the trade, bro. Tell us, man. Tell us the trades, bro. What is it? So our stop loss is always 20%, right? So if you're doing a 20x, right, our stop loss is 20%. So no matter what it is, you just preset it, dude. Dude, we got another guy in here. Jaden Raymond. Yo, listen, why don't you call out a trade, guys? So Jaden, what are you trading today? Give us some juice, baby. Give us some love, man. Let's see what you're talking about. Talk is cheap, bro. But I'm here for you, bro. I'm here. Let's go. Give me a trade, Raymond. My boy, Jadon. Give me a Jadon. You trade stocks? Nah, you're a joke, bro. Give me a stock, bro. Teach you how to trade stocks too. Don't worry about it. Okay, so if you have to input a price, right? So here's how you do it, bro. Okay, so Scott, go to your entry, right? Whatever your entry is. AMD and NVIDIA. Okay, I bought AMD when it was $30, bro. You're a little bit behind on me. And I bought NVIDIA way cheaper than it is now, bro. You're a couple years behind. So, okay, so Scott, go to the side here, right? See this little box right here? There's a little thing like the fourth one down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? The fifth one down. Click on it. You see the thing that says long position? Okay. Click on your long position. Now, wherever you entered, right? So click it, and this is your percentages, okay? Now, yours will look a little different, but I just changed mine up. And what this basically says here is so see how it says 150%? So based on your leverage, right? Based on your leverage, right? So if you have a 20x leverage, right? That means that to have a 20x stop loss, you would scroll down and you would just go to 1%, right? And then all you do is go to the 1% mark right here. Move that 1% to your entry. Like, so if your entry was 40, let's say 43 cents, right? So let's find the 43 cent mark. All right, so right there, So 43 cents is right around here. All right, so that's about 43 cents. So see how this top here. So I'm going to put a line for 43 cents. Right? So there's your line, right? So let's say that's your entry, right? So from your entry down, right, is 1%. See? So then all you do is this line right here, put your mouse over it, and then to the right, it tells you your price. So if you entered at 43 cents, your stop loss is 42.62. 42.62. See? 42.62. And that is just based on the bottom line. See that? That's how you do that. Now, you should have, honestly, what exchange do you use, bro? What exchange are you on that doesn't have the numbers? Because I'll show you. They have the numbers. You're probably just not seeing them. What exchange are you on? What do you got, Scott? What are you on? What's up, baby? Crypto Gambino. What up, son? I've never heard of XT, bro. Hey, much love to you, Crypto. Hey, Gambino, how you been, bro? Gambino, what's going on, bro? All right, so yo, rookie. All right, listen. So Scott, when you do your trade, let me show you right here. You're probably missing it, right? So come here when you do your stop loss, right? You hit your little plus button or whatever you hit, right? Hit it. Now you might have to put money. You don't see a return. Okay, go to the side here, right? Do you see anything where you can put you can change, right? See how this is return on investment, ROE? Is there a drop down box that you can put? Because yours might be on profit and loss. You see? Can you change profit and loss to return on investment, ROE? Can you change that? Yo, yeah, Gambino. How you been, bro? Good? Yo, where you at, Gambino? Yes, yes, that's what I was saying. When you enter the amount, right? When you enter the amount, it should show you the percent. So whatever amount you put, it'll say in the percent. Now you got it, Scott. There you go, boys. If guys, you don't understand what we're talking about, guys. So let's say his stop loss is $42, right? Okay, let's pull this up, right? So let's say he wants to put a stop loss. If he types in the stop loss over here, okay, and he puts in $42.98, it tells you the percent right there. It tells you the percent. $42 would equal that percent. You see that? It tells you the percent. So if you type in the money, it'll tell you the percent. They all work that way. Okay. So there you go. Scott's learning today, boys. That's how you set that up right there. All right, we got that part done. Okay, what platform are you using? Guys, we're using MEXC. So if you want to use MEXC, you need a VPN, right? So if you have a VPN, right, then you can use our VIP, right? So if you have let me give you a link. So do a screenshot. I'm gonna give you guys a screenshot here, but these are our referral codes, right? So this will be the referral code that you can use. You can screenshot that. That's for MEXC. Okay, yeah, and Scott, you gotta be in a situation like, all right. So if you're is there a video link for the new indicators? We'll have to get back to that. Him on that. There is. Okay. Now, so you have to, so Scott, no matter what you do, when you guys use leverage, right? If you guys are first time users of leverage, or if you're trying out leverage, right? Remember the rule, right? The rule is don't use big bags when you learn, okay? People don't understand that. The reason why you use leverage is because leverage, it gives you 700% more gains. So you don't need $1,000 to make the money you want. You only need, $100. So when you first start out, guys, and you try leverage, use a small bag, right? So if you normally trade $100, then trade 10, right? Because 10x on a $10 is a $100 trade. 50x on $100 is 500 on $10 is a $500 trade. So don't use a lot of money when you start in leverage. You need to learn how to work your way into leverage, right? You got to kind of like feel your way through, right? So don't use a lot of money when you start in leverage until you learn how to get in, get out, and all that good shit, right? So just start with 10 bucks. And the rule is this, and if you're in my academy, if you're in my Discord, you know that when you join, like here, if you want info, hit vccryptonation at Gmail. But the rule is if you can't take 10 bucks to 100, then you can't increase 10 bucks. So your goal is to take 10 bucks and double 10 bucks and make it, build it up to $100 and then make 10 bucks 20 and then make another $100 and then they make 20 40. And then as if when you win 7 trades in a row, you make 40 80 and you only move your bag up with profit, right? So you don't add more money. If you guys are doing futures and you keep adding money, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, that's just the way it is, right? Don't add more money when you're losing money. Learn how to make money first. Does that make sense? You guys, I feel like I say this a lot, but maybe that's what's happening is people don't explain that shit to you first. If you want to make money in crypto, the first thing you have to do is you got to learn how to, losses and stuff like that. So losses do happen, things do happen. Okay, so don't start with $100 or $1,000, lose 50 grand, and say, "Damn, I need to learn." Right? You start with $10 and work the $10 up. It's okay to take losses. It's okay to have all that shit happen. You just have to put yourself in a position where you're learning first how to do it. You're going to lose. Okay, you're going to lose. Get that in your head. Like it's okay to lose, trades 3 out of 10, etc., and this and that. I gotta buy some. Need to buy some here. Hold on. It's okay to have losses, right? You got to accept that you're gonna lose when you first start. If you're losing 4 out of 10, you're actually doing okay, and you're in a good spot there. On the other hand, you got to maximize your wins, right? So start off, and if you can't make money with $10, then you shouldn't be using futures, right? The whole point of futures is to make more money with less money. Does that make sense? We use futures to make more money with less money, right? More money with less money. So don't use thousands of dollars like here. So AVAX took us out there, and that's because we were ahead of our indicator, right? So we're still waiting for the confirmation. What's the confirmation? I need a 15-minute green moon, right? And this is basically what we're covering right now. If you guys watch, we're going to be going live. Is we're just going to be covering a simple pattern that we use inside of our Discord on how to trade, and it's the same thing, right? And what we're tracking is the 3-minute entries on the moons, lower leverage, and then also 15-minute trends, which is what we need right now. So for us, we need a 15-minute green moon. So before we can make any more entries, we need that moon there. So guys, if you're new to futures and all that shit, use $10, make it 100, right? So here's a system you can use, right? This is what we do. You make 7 trades. Okay, so here's how it works. So let's say you take 10 bucks, use leverage, right? Use a 30x or 50x leverage because you want to use a little bit of leverage, right? 50x leverage. And you want to set profits, right? So take profits at 30%, right? And learn how to win 30% over and over. And after you win 30% 10 times in a row, move your $10 to 20, right? Win 7 trades in a row, do it again. But learn how to win a percentage, right? And then start working on your basics. But don't use more than $10 until you can make profits, right? And don't take $10 to $300 and then start trading $300, right? That's stay in the same bag over and over and build your bag up, right? So guys don't understand. It's like they'll take 100 to 3,000 and then they'll start trading $500 bags, but they don't have a system. You can't trade big amounts of money until you have a system that has a certain amount of wins, right? You need a higher percentage, right? You need to win 7 out of 10 trades. Your wins need to be above 50%, and your losses need to be below 20 on the same amount of money, right? Does that make sense? So don't start winning money in futures and then start raising your bag because you will lose it in one trade and then you'll be back to zero. So baby steps, $10 trades, win 30%. When you make that $10, right? If you win 10 trades, right, you're gonna have 330 bucks. When you get $10 to 30, then make your $10 bag 20. When your 20 gets to 60, make your bag 30 and add 10 bucks every single time and keep winning. And eventually you'll have 100 bucks, and every time you win 30%, it'll be 30. And then 10 trades later, you have 300, and then make your $100 bag 120, 140, 160. Then you get to 200. Then you start doing 50s, 250, 300, 350, and that's where you stay. Your bags stay at $50, and you keep increasing until you get to 1,000, guys. What do you say? What is check Umi? Umi. I want to check Umi. Hold on. Umi. Umi on next C. All right, hold on. Umi. First of all, let me pull up Umi. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a gem. If you guys want a gem, okay. How many people buy Bitcoin? How many people like Bitcoin? Like, are there real people that buy Bitcoin? There are a lot of people that buy Bitcoin in here that like Bitcoin. Like people who are Bitcoin people, right? So this coin right here, I'm gonna give you a coin, right? This coin's a little bit different. Do a little bit of research, but this is kind of like a insider type thing for you guys. Okay, so there's a coin called PMXX. Okay, go to Coin Market Cap, and this is going to be on CoinGecko. Okay, PMXX, right? PMXX. Let me pull that up real quick. There you go. And what this is this is kind of how we buy Bitcoin, right? So thanks for joining the live today. I'm gonna give you some two gems here that you guys can do very well on, but I'm gonna do this gem here. So what this is this is the one of the only coins that the only pair. Right, this what I mean by pairing is that it's connected to. So when they wrap PMXX, it's actually wrapped in Bitcoin. So the only pair that you can buy with PMXX is Bitcoin, right? So what it does is it. So here's how it works. Every time they buy PMXX and they wrap it, they put it in Bitcoin, which means the underlying asset, which is Bitcoin, is the value of the PMXX. Plus, it has a second value to it that when people start buying MXX, the cost of supply and demand raises the price of the coin with people buying more coins. So if you're a Bitcoin person and you think Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000, every time Bitcoin goes down, you would buy Bitcoin and then you would trade Bitcoin for PMXX. Now, what that does is give you Bitcoin, you're using your lower price Bitcoin, giving you PMXX. When Bitcoin goes up, you get the price go up on the PMXX, but you also, when people start buying PMXX, it moves the price even higher because people are buying the coin, right? So this is the best way to buy Bitcoin is through PMXX because that coin is a coin backed by Bitcoin. So not only if you let's say Bitcoin goes to 100,000 and you have PMXX, your coin will do the same percentages, but they'll go up in value even more because people will be buying PMXX, which will also drive the price of your coin. So do some research on there, not financial advice, but that's something I'm going to show you right now where it's at. It's on CoinGecko. Okay. And just so you understand, so I'm talking about this coin. I actually, if you follow me, I was talking about this coin. Take a look at it, uh, how we have set up here. So I was talking about this coin way back here, right, in the beginning of November and October, where it was $2,000, $3,000, right? So this coin started off at $3,000, okay, in October 23, right? They moved this all to Bitcoin. Now it's sitting at 10,000. So we've already got a 3x on this, right? And that's just because Bitcoin's going up. But even if Bitcoin goes down, this coin goes sideways because the more people buy PMXX, the more the coin goes up. So if you want Bitcoin, this is the best way to buy cheap Bitcoin and then trade it for PMXX, and then you have double your Bitcoin, right? That's kind of how it works. So take a look into that, do a little research. I'll do a thing for you on there, but this is how I hold Bitcoin. I don't actually hold Bitcoin. I buy Bitcoin when it's cheap. I put it in PMXX. Then this gives me double value. So take a look at that, guys. Do a little research, not financial advice. That's just for thanks for joining the live and kind of getting in there. I just wanted to share that with you guys so you have that. All right. So what do you say that you're talking about another coin here? What do we have? Yumi. Yumi. What was Yumi? Let's see. Are you talking about this purple coin? This Osamo? This is what you're talking about right here? This is Solana, ain't it? It's on a Solana train. That's what this is. Networks, Matic, Scroll, Solana, Atrium. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see how old this is. Trade history. Osmosis. Oh, it's on the Osmosis. Is this the one you talking about right here, bro? That's a variation of it. Which one are you talking about? Talking about the one on. I don't see the MEXC one. Hold on. Is it the chain one? Hold on. Let me see. You're talking about US. What's the ticker? What's the ticker for that? Let me see markets. All right. There you go. All right. So you're talking about this one right here. Yeah. Okay. Here we are. This is the one you're looking at here. Okay. Let's take a look at the overall. All right. So overall came out 2/17/2022. Okay. That's pretty good. Came out during the shit run. Got murdered. Okay. Let's look at the circulating supply here. Circulating supply. Give me 1 second here. This is an interesting coin. Okay, I'll give you that, and I'll do a little research on it. So you got me looking now. Okay, you got my attention. Right. So now I just have to kind of like do some research on this. But overall, let's see here. Fully diluted market cap. Okay. All right, I have to do a little research on here, but so far, worth a look. I'll say that. I'll say that. And I like the fact it's Gate.io and MEXC, right? So those two things and Being X. So let me see the trading volume here. Let's take a look here. 24.17. Okay. So this is still a baby. Okay. Okay, that's good. We like to see that. 24 cents. So this is early, bro. This is real early. Okay. I'm kind of digging this. All right. Who put this out there, man? All right. Okay, Jason, I like it. All right, I'm gonna give you credit on this shit, bro. I like it. Okay, I'm gonna do a little research, bro. So you have to come back and um, we'll do a little research on this. But this looks interesting, bro. This looks pretty good, man. Okay, I just have to do a little research as far as like where it's at. But I mean, the ability to do something is good here. Um, we'll kind of take a peek at that right now. So let me take a look. And you're saying this is on? This is on what? What's that? What's that thing? What is this on? Oh, I gotta get into my AVAX. I'm still waiting for my alert. All right, guys. 1456. Okay. All right, so I'm still looking at my AVAX. Hold on, guys. All right. So you said, let me see what it is. It's a UX, right? And let's inbox. Go here. Okay. UX. All right, UX. And you say that's on Big MEXC. Okay. UX. UX. Okay. UX. I don't see that fucking. Is this thing on futures, bro? Is this in futures? Hold on. This thing in futures? Coming back to AVAX in a second. Hold on. UX. How come it's not in there? Okay. Am I missing it, brother? It says MEXC right here. Okay, let me click on MEXC. Saying it's on there. UX. Right? That's the link. UX, right? Am I missing this? Somebody's on MEXC. See if you can find this coin. UX. All right, UX, UX. I'm looking at it. I don't see it though, bro. UX chain. Hmm. Oh, is it MEXC? Is that what this is? No, this wouldn't be a MEXC coin, would it? Is this the MEXC coin? Is that what this is? No, no, it's not. Is it? Hold on, you guys. All right, hold on, hold on. So you think it's the MEXC token? Nah, because that's 005. So that's a little bit different. 005. 005. So that's not the MEXC token. I want to find out what the hell this is here. Hold on. How come I can't? Maybe I'll try the UMEE. Okay, hold on. Let me try that. Let me try that there. UMEE. Oh, here, it's under Yumi. So they haven't changed it yet, bro. It's Yumi. UMEE. Okay, let's look at the chart here. Yeah. Here you go. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So we got that set up. All right. So it is on MEXC, but it's under UMEE. All right. An interesting chart there. All right. Let me slide here. We need to have time that we do coin researches too in between trades and stuff. And then we'll kind of get back into what we're doing there. But let me take a look here. All right. So let me find it on on a chart here. Give me 1 second. So Yumi. Okay, there we go. Yumi on MEXC. All right, let's take a look at this overall plan here. Okay, 15 minutes is at the bottom. We look good. 1 hour trade. Oh shit. Look at this 1 hour trade. Wow. How much percent is that? If we would have got in on this trade, we'd be up 30%. Okay. I wonder if it has any, let me see if it has any leverage. See if it has any leverage here. Hold on. No. Okay. All right. It's a spot one. It's a spot trade, guys. But overall, you know, it's the beginning of a project. So let's see. So we had a 1 hour push. We just went through it. Looks like we're hitting a red moon. So I would be getting in on this in a second. All right. So AVAX is deciding it wants to stay moving towards a short. Now, we never did get our AVAX 15-minute moon, so we don't have our trade. So now AVAX wants to come up as a short, which is okay. And this is what I'm talking about when you say, Harold, are you on here? So this is what I'm talking about. So guys, can you hear me in the Discord? So the concept, Anthony, you hear me? Okay. So this is what I was talking about. Yeah. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, when you do the 15-minute, right? So basically, let's say you do a 25 or 30x, right? When you do that, you take more losses than you do when you do the full 75x, right? And that it's okay because if you're doing a 30x, the 15-minute are going to be a little bit different. We need a moon to happen no matter what happens. So we didn't get our 15-minute moon on there. So now AVAX is moving the other direction, right? So now the difference is AVAX is going back to a short, and we already have a 15-minute moon, right? Which, we have the RSI is changing. So now it's kind of like in the middle of a move already, which this would be us looking at our 1 hour finishing out. So I wouldn't take this trade here on AVAX now that it's kind of like hitting because the 1 hour is already at the bottom. So what I would want for this to do is actually if I was looking to do a long on AVAX, I'd want it to give me more of an entry, right? So I'd start getting more greedy there. So if you're doing like 20x or position trading, this is where you would be buying in on this section here. But for me, we need this to move up, and I need a 15-minute move. So this is why every single trade you got to have at least a move. See what I'm saying? Otherwise, we're just going sideways. But when you do the 3-minute move, you're just putting yourself at more risk because it's not confirmed, right? So the trade goes in alert, right, which is our 1 hour alert. The validation is the moon, right? So the long that we wanted to do on AVAX, we didn't get our moon, right? But we did have a 3-minute moon and trend. So when you guys are operating off of these lower time frames, you have to start realizing that you need the moon's validations, right? 15-minute AVAX moon alert, right? So right now, it's starting to alert that it wants to start having some type of pushback down here and moving. So we're still in the same scenario. We need a moon, we need an alert on the 1 hour. We need a moon to validate, and then we need trend and the 3-minute to basically confirm a trade. So, all right. That makes sense, bro. Have you been, so let's get to where, have you been looking at the new 1 hour alerts, Anthony?
I've actually been trying to get hit with Alf to make sure I was doing it correctly with the 1 hour alert. So
Yeah, I put the video in there, and a lot of times we just add the trend video indicator just because it's easier to set them on there versus the VC side, so that we have two indicators, right? So you have this one here, the X, right, and then just go watch the video I put up. That's the one that's on there. So um,
I'll go watch it.
yeah, and it's just basically this, right? So we need an alert for a confirmation of a trade ideal. So the 1 hour alert is a trade ideal. The 15-minute moon is the validation of the trade ideal. And then the trend is the confirmation of the trade, right? So three parts. Let me see this UMI. I'm actually going to put probably 500 UMI. See how it goes over here. UMI. It's got a long way to go. Total supply 12 billion, 3 billion out. So right now we're operating on 1/3 of the supply, 125%. So right now it's got a little bit over 25%, which is still where you can see a lot of times when you have that lower supply, you can see bigger moves because they haven't really taken anything out of it. But it also means that you don't want to hold your pumps that long because they're going to start taking a little bit out of it. All right. So it looks to me like as soon as I get a trend here on UMI, I would be looking to go long on there. All right. AVAX, 15-minute move, 15-minute day. We're already trend. This is just a continuation of that first trade. So if you had that first trade you were in, it had a push, and then now you have that second trade. So AVAX is going for a continuation of a pull down, not quite ready to reverse. And this is why when you're doing the lower leverage, you can build into these trades. But for me, I'm very solid on just waiting for a very quick execution. All right. Let's see where we're at here. So 43. Let's get this little lane here. So if you were doing 30% stop loss, that would have had a stop loss right there. AVAX Moon. So we're building, man. We're building. But I want to get into what other coins we have here. All right, never mind. Let's see what this is. Um, so NMR should be making a move here. Has a buy signal, but we're looking for a 1 hour. Let me get a 1 hour in NVR. What time? We got 3 o'clock. So right now trades are kind of like in the slide. So yeah, just follow the side where the 1 hour alert is going to give us our trade ideal, and then the 15-minute moon, right, is going to be the validation, right? So right here, I don't have a 1 hour on NMR, right? So 1 hour, I don't have an alert on this yet, right? Even though I have it set. I have it set here. I'm not seeing it on here yet. So I don't have my 1 hour trend, but I already have a 15-minute moon. So when I do get that, looks like we're building up on NMR here. See what this is. AVAX 15-minute moon. So AVAX keeps firing. Now AVAX is actually firing a 15-minute moon now. We're starting to get this alert here. See how it went twice, 3 times, right? So this is telling me on the 15-minute that this is the alert that I was waiting for earlier, okay? This is the alert that tells me that they're looking at a reversal. So let me go ahead and mark this, right? This is what I was saying. Anytime you get there, you set your alert on your 15-minute moon, and now we put a price label. So this started happening at 42.86. They're starting to trigger a 15-minute AVAX alert. So this is where the alert we're looking for the long. You see, 15 minute, 15 minute, 15 minute, right? So now AVAX is telling me that it's starting to build momentum finally, right? So that's the alert that I'm waiting for in order to make a decision on entering a long position, right? Now I got to go back and I got to look at my 3 minute, all right? So now the 3 minute is going to be a 3 minute moon and trend, which is what we're looking at right here, and it looks like we're getting a 3 minute moon, a 3 minute trend. So this is where AVAX, now that I'm getting that alert, would be the entry on a higher leverage to get ready for. So let me see. This would actually move and start looking for entry spots here. Now, so the long on AVAX on high, we need a green moon, green trend. So that's where we're at right now, boys. Let's get that price in, and we will get set up here. So 15 minute, all right, 42.86.5. I'm going to put that to you. 42.86.5. Let's put there. All right, now we need a moon, right? So here we go. AVAX is starting to make its move. We're getting alerts. 3 minute. And here we are. Okay, so now we're heading up into the spot that we want to start looking to buy some positions. There we go. Why is this lagging so bad? All right, it's because I'm sharing on my screens, guys. So it'll piss me off later because I won't win as much as I want to win, but we'll get through this shit. All right, so the alerts are coming in. All right, so we got some entries here. Now, the alert that we got is the 15 minutes that we're getting in here. It's not buying where I wanted to buy, but that's all right. So I'm lagging here. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my 30% stop loss. I'm going to go for a simple 50% gain here. We're a little bit laggy on this right now. Come on, come on. It's actually been lagging for a little